All right, final thoughts and scores out of 10 for Return of the Mandalorian, aka Chapter 5. And everybody who's watching live on YouTube, go ahead, post your final thoughts and scores out of 10 in the old chit chat here. And Ben, start us off. Give us your final thoughts, score out of 10 for episode 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal episode. Like, I don't really I noticed the whole some of the slow bits, but I really don't have any complaints about them. I think some of this great. I had a giant grin on my face the entire time that N1 Starfighter was on screen. So even though that scene was slow, I was still like, oh my god, this is happening. So it's just there's so many things to talk about. Like we spent almost 2 hours on this thing already. And we could spend another 2 hours. And it was the longest episode so far we've gotten. And just such a great surprise. Just seeing that silhouette come on the other side of in that freezer just made me so happy. And I was like, okay, yeah, 5 minutes of this, and then we're back to Book of Boba Fett. No. So, I'm really not complaining. I'm just saying it's weird. Okay, it's weird that my favorite episode of the Book of Boba Fett doesn't have Boba Fett in it. I'm just saying it's weird. I'm not mad. I'm just not sure how to feel about this. But I will say, I think I'm gonna give this one. God, do I give it? I think I have to give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
I'm considering a 10 out of 10. I was almost there. 9.5. Okay, I'll split the difference.
9.5. There you go. 9.5 for Ben. Star Raptor, over to you. Final thoughts, score out of 10.
Yeah, so my sentiments haven't really changed since the opening, but we've had a great conversation, a great discussion nonetheless. What I will say is, again, the moments that made me cheer, the moments that made me gasp, some really great stuff we were talking about earlier in the episode with the Darksaber and how it ties into the Clone Wars and Rebels and the lineage of the Mandalorians in general is just so awesome. Hearing all of that, seeing Din, seeing where he is now compared to where he was in season 2, getting that connective tissue, seeing how he's acting in this galaxy, how he's feeling about Grogu, getting an update on Grand Moff, Moff Gideon. And also seeing that really fun stuff with the callbacks to the Phantom Menace, seeing an Naboo Starfighter, seeing Beggar's Canyon, just a lot of great content. I will docket points for maybe being a little bit slower, walking a lot, and just a little bit too long on some scenes. And I'm going to have to give it another half a point or something just for the fact that it did slow down my excitement for seeing Boba. I feel like they've been building up to this big war. I think it was episode 3 where they're like, that was just the first wave. We'll prepare for war. And then the next episode, it's a lot of flashbacks. And it's oh, we got to get money to fight, muscle to fight this war. It's okay, next episode, we're going to get the war. It's oh, now we're going to have somebody completely else on the show. It's there's 3 episodes I've been waiting to see this war. And granted, this is maybe in hindsight, this won't even be an issue. But concurrently, as I'm watching this show, my enjoyment level, I would give this an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 from Star Raptor. Chris, what about you? Final thoughts, score out of 10 for Chapter 5.
I think the reason why there was so much walking is this was actually gameplay footage. So we got to keep that in mind. This is great. I think it just had, I think they had I think there is a bit of a formula going on with Star Wars TV to kind of make a great episode. I think you need at least one really great, really cool and innovative action sequence. And this episode had a couple of them. You need to have some lore building, and this episode definitely had some lore with the history of the Darksaber and the Mandalorians, and some more exposition about what the Darksaber is and how it works, and that's cool. This episode had something really cute in it. It had the little Baby Yoda bag with the potentially chainmail in it, so you kind of need that element, and then you need some references to some nostalgic stuff like the Phantom Menace and Fallen Order. So I think and the fifth thing is you got to advance the plot forward, and unfortunately I think the one thing that keeps this episode from being a perfect score for all of us is that it's not the Book of Boba Fett plot being moved forward. It's you're making a major development in the Mandalorian plot, with him kind of not seeing eye to eye with that covert. So that's the big development there. But other than that, this meant nothing to the Book of Boba Fett, because you could have, like we were saying earlier, you could have just gone, as they may have originally been planning, from that little musical cue at the end of last episode into Din showing up to help Boba next episode. So not a necessary episode for this show, but a must-watch episode for The Mandalorian show. It might be confusing if you don't see it. Really interesting situation. So so far, a lot of the episodes, I'm going to use Taco Bell sauces to rate this. So far, we've got some mild episodes of the show. And I'm going to rate this one hot.
Did Taco Bell pay for this segment?
Yes,
Are they a Patreon supporter?
Hashtag not spons, but would love to be. So
is Taco Bell and IHOP going to be fighting over our sponsorship?
Yes, that's the thing. I'm pitting them against each other, right? To see who can make the best offer. That's
I'll tell you which one I'm picking, regardless of the quality of their offer.
What type of maple syrup is this episode?
Right? we gotta bring some sauces from.
So what you're saying is you're giving it a hot sauce out of 10? Is that what you're saying?
This is a hot sauce, but I'm expecting next week to be fire. So I'm holding out. I'm not giving it the fire rating. It's just the hot. It's just a hot rating. And some of those flashbacks
is on fire.
Some of those flashbacks were just ketchup, but it's cool.
Boo.
It's just cool. So hot out of fire. So that's a 9 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10. Okay. I don't even know how to follow that. I don't know what more I can really say. It's weird that this was a Book of Boba Fett episode and not a Mandalorian episode. I'm going to take half a point off for that. I'm going to take a whole point off for just how long the shipbuilding scene was. It was way too long for me. So but I'm also starting from a place where so much of this episode was a 10 out of 10. So I'm going to give it the 8.5. I thought it was a really, really strong episode, really, really engaging episode of Star Wars. If not the Book of Boba Fett. I will say I hope that Tamura Morrison got paid for this episode, and because they still credited him as the lead actor in this, which I thought was hilarious. So I hope he got paid for this big time. And I want to say I think that this episode gave us a really good piece of advice that I think belongs in the pantheon of great Star Wars wisdom, and that's from the Armorer. And when she says, "Persistence without insight will lead to the same outcome." I feel like that's up there. I feel like that's a really good piece of Star Wars wisdom. So I give this episode 8.5 out of 10. Really, really strong episode.